Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the VOC Matric Revision program. And today we are covering business studies, and the topic is business roles. My guest this afternoon, or our guest this afternoon, is Mogamad Imraan Majiet, subject head in studies at Trafalgar High School. And I hand over to Mohammed Imran to proceed.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys, to the Matric Revision Program, the intervention session 3. I know on my screen it says paper 1, but that's a mistake. Today we'll be starting on paper 2. Last week and the week before that, we did paper 1 where we explained business environments and business operations. We explained last week. That was that means we covered paper 1 and we are done with paper 1. All we have to do with paper 1 is still go over some questions in order to prepare us for the prelim examination and for the final examination. So today we'll start off with business paper 2. Business paper 2 is business roles and business ventures. Today we would focus only on business roles. So again, as paper 1, we have section A, which is compulsory. Section B would then be a question on business roles, question 4 on business, question 3 on business roles, question 4 on business ventures. We move over. Okay, so the topics that we're going to cover on business roles today would be ethics and professionalism, creative thinking, and problem solving. This is the learner's favorite topic, as well as social responsibility and corporate citizenship, corporate social responsibility, corporate social investment, as well as human rights, inclusivity, and environmental issues, as well as team performance, assessment, conflict management. So now we're going to start up with the first topic, which is professionalism and ethics. Everything that I'm going to show you on the screen, all you have to do is take a picture or screenshot the screen, and then you write these notes down as your study notes. I've summarized the notes for you, so everything that is displayed you're going to memorize as is, or make yourself familiar with the information so that it can better your knowledge and you will be fully equipped for the examination. So, professionalism and ethics. What is professional behavior? The specific characteristics expected of a professional. Your ethics is the ways to respond in line with society and good values. So, professionalism, remember, in a day to day business, and then ethics would then be in society in your everyday life. So the difference between professionalism or professional and ethical behavior is that professionalism refers to right and wrong in a business. Ethics refers to the principles of right and wrong in society. Professionalism sets standards of expected behavior, and ethics set values that are morally acceptable. Professionalism focus on moral compass for decision making. Ethics is the focus on reputation of the profession. We move on. So we're now looking at the professional and unprofessional business practice, which refers to the business or the actions of employees. Ethical and unethical business practices refers to the actions of the business. We are now looking at the professional, unprofessional, ethical, and unethical business practices. Professional business practice is the good use of work time. Use polite language with colleagues and treat all people the same. You need to act professional in your workplace. You need to have a set of standards. Unprofessional business practices is the abuse of work time, like coming late to work, which is absolutely wrong, boys and girls. use rude language with colleagues, unacceptable, and give certain people special favors, which is wrong. This will also fall under the Employment Equity Act. Ethical and unethical business practices. Ethical business practice, honest advertising. Like if you have honest advertising, especially on television, where they tell you, again, I'm going to use Pedro's as an example, where they use the promotion that they're doing with a happy meal of four garlic rolls, a full chicken and chips for 140 rand. When I go to the shop, it needs to be the same price, which has to be honest advertising, not like Facebook with dishonest advertising with unprofessional business practices, where people now give a different price on the Facebook. So they would say you can buy this car with installment of 3,000 rand per month, and when you come to the dealership, they now tell you that the price would then be 4,500 rand. So that is dishonest advertising. So ethical business practices, pay fair wages as well as work within the law. Unethical business practice is pay unfair wages and violate the law. Four ways in which professional or responsible, ethical, and effective business practice must be carried out. Number one, pay fair wages or salaries which is in line with the minimum requirements of the BCEA. Number two, plan properly and put preventative measures in place. Number three, refrain from starting a venture using other business ideas that are protected by law. Number four, refrain from polluting the environment, example, by legally disposing of toxic waste. So these are the four ways in which business or professional, responsible, ethical, and effective business practices must be carried out. So we move on to the King Code principles. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to know about the King Code principles, they will ask you in question two. Name the King Code principles, and you just say transparency, liability, and responsibility. But what are they? Transparency. Transparency is regular audits must be done to determine the effectiveness of the business, or audit and other reports must be accurate, available to shareholders or workers, as well as shareholders should be aware of employment policies. Liability. Internal and external audits must audit financial statements. This you will also see that it plays a part in accounting as well. So, regular communications between management and stakeholders, example, shareholders. Also, businesses must be accountable for decisions and their actions. Responsibility. Programs must protect communities. Programs must protect the environment, example, to reduce air and water pollution. So, when going fishing, your responsibility is that you shouldn't leave the net line laying in the water once you're done fishing, as well as not throw your bottles or chip papers in the water because you are causing water pollution and the fish might die. We move on to the business practice challenges, which is unprofessional. We are now talking about sexual harassment, unauthorized use of workplace funds or resources, or the abuse of working hours. You're going to get a question like this where they're going to ask you, name the challenges of unprofessionalism in the workplace, and these three types are your answers. You will get examples such as managers promise employees promotion if they agree to sexual favors. And we do know these things take place in workplaces. with the unauthorized use of workplace funds or resources, staff who download music and movies with the work's internet, and the abuse of work time, make personal calls during working hours by using the workplace's phone. The explanation we can use is that sexual harassment causes discomfort or humiliation and hinders work. Workers will then tend to not want to work because of this. The use of workplace funds, fraud increases the cost of doing business, and the abuse of working hours, business can lose customers if deadlines are not met. The strategies to deal with this is that implement internal complaints and disciplinary procedures. Also formulate a policy regarding sexual harassment. So if sexual harassment takes place, you can go and report it to your HR manager. Once it's reported there, the HR manager will take it up and they will then put and the proper procedures into place. Also, with the use of workplace funds, perform audits, limit the number of employees who have access to the assets. Abuse of working hours, talk directly to employees and draw up a code of conduct. You know, each school and business has a code of conduct and they have it at hand. So if you want to see it, they should make it available to you guys. Unethical business practice challenges. They would ask you this as well in your examination. All you have to say is dishonest advertising, prices of goods in rural areas, and tax evasion. So, dishonest advertising, the example they'd use there is to advertise second-hand goods as new goods. You'd always see this take place on Facebook or your social media. The explanation to this is that it's misleading statements in advertisements leading to mispresentation representation of product concerned. Also, consumers need to report it, encourage businesses to keep advertising fair. Prices of goods in rural areas, inflation of food prices because there are few suppliers in remote areas. This takes place in rural areas. Why? There are not a lot of shops in rural areas. Therefore, a lot of consumers then tend to up their prices, which is wrong. So the explanation to this is to ask higher price for goods of inferior quality in rural areas. How do we deal with this? Work with suppliers to share delivery costs to remote rural areas. Tax evasion, falsification of financial records to show less income. We all know this took place. You can check the voice. A lot of tax evasion takes place with the hierarchies as well as people that cause these and that are getting caught now and they are sent to jail. So many businesses and individuals do not declare all the income to SARS. The strategy to deal with this is that to submit all tax returns, businesses must pay the correct amount to SARS. We now move over to your favorite topic in business studies, which is creative thinking and problem solving. So you should know the difference between problem solving and decision making. We would first go over problem solving. So, what is problem solving? Problem solving is the process that evaluates alternatives and uses research to solve a problem. Problems can be solved by a team or an individual team member. Example, how would you deal with a staff member who persistently arrives late and takes regular unauthorized breaks from work to smoke a cigarette? You now need to know how to solve this problem. Easy? Give them a warning. You can now decide what you want to do, but there is a way in order to do this. Decision making. What is decision making? It is a practice of considering a number of existing alternatives and deciding which one is the best solution. It is often done by one person, a member of senior management, which makes is authoritarian. Example, if you were presented with a Samsung, BlackBerry, or Nokia cell phone and you choose the Samsung, with decision making, you would get the possibility to now and choose which one is the best. It is your decision. So, ways in which business can create environment to stimulate with creative thinking, you should encourage staff to come up with new and innovative ideas. Train staff in innovative techniques. Encourage job swaps within the organization. So make the staff familiar with the different types of jobs in your working environment. Also encourage alternative ways of working. Come up with unique strategies in order to come about or relaying messages to others. Also respond enthusiastically to all ideas, because remember, in education and as a student, no question is a dumb question. We should always be able to answer those questions. We move over. So, the benefits of creative thinking in the workplace. You may give the business a competitive advantage. That's the best way for a business to overcome other businesses. So, complex business problems may be solved. Employees have more confidence as they can live up to their full potential. Better solutions are generated because you're coming up with creative and innovative ideas. So, creativity may lead to new inventions, which improves the general standard of living. It also improves motivation among staff members as everyone are now giving their input. So, the way problem solving steps occur or the way we should use them is, firstly, you can have abbreviation or you can use the term of IDIEFIME, which I would normally say is EDFIME or IDFIME. It is identify the problem, then define the problem, identify alternative solutions, evaluate the alternative solutions. So make sure that these solutions are the proper solutions before we go on to the next step, which is formulate the alternative solutions. Then we would now implement the strategy. After implementing it, we would monitor it whether it works or not. And then lastly, we would evaluate the strategy, whether we're going to go with the strategy or we're going to change it and test out a new strategy in order for our problems to be solved. We're now going on to the different types of techniques. So they're going to tell you, guys, please mention the four different types of techniques we have. They normally ask for three. So you can say Delphi technique, force field analysis, brainstorming, and nominal group technique. Our favorite two is our Delphi technique and our force field analysis. So what is our Delphi technique? It is a use a panel of experts to find solutions to a problem. Experts do not have to be in the same place. I know that there is 7 steps in the application, but I've given you four because only four, you'll only get marked on the first four application. So first you'd invite a panel of experts to research complaints from customers. Then you design a questionnaire and distribute it to the experts, and then they would now summarize the responses in a feedback report. They would send the feedback report with second set of questions to the experts. The experts will then now come up with a solution and the company would now implement it afterwards. Our advantages to this is that experts give anonymous suggestions as well as they are more creative and can feed off each other's ideas. The disadvantages about this is that it the respondents might not reach consensus, meaning they won't come up with the same strategies, and the process is time consuming and expensive. Not all aspects or experts are willing to complete questionnaires. Our force field analysis were now developed by Kurt Lewin to facilitate change in an organization. Most companies come up with this strategy or technique. So they describe the current situation and the desired solution. So the problem, what occurred in the business, they would now have a solution to it. They would now list all driving and restraining forces that will support or resist change, meaning all the positives and the negatives. They would allocate a score from 1, which is weak, to 5, which is strong, to each force. This happens in businesses as well when they give you out a survey. They tell you to now recommend or give a score on the survey. You now get to choose the force with the highest score as the solution. Advantages to this is that more people feel included and understood, employees develop and grow with the business, and informed decisions can be made as all forces are critically evaluated. The disadvantages to this is that processes is time consuming as always. Everything is time consuming. It requires the participation of all the business units. The analysis is entirely dependent on the skill levels of the working group. Remember, these techniques can also come in as an essay question. We move on to brainstorming. So, brainstorming a group of problem solving technique that involves the spontaneous contribution of ideas from all members of the group. Application: define the problem clearly, set a time limit for each brainstorming session, write down ideas where all participants can see it, and then do not judge or criticize the ideas. Advantages: stimulate creative thinking. People get ideas from others and build on them. So, always, once you hear an idea from another person, you now tend to make that idea possible and also give better insight on that idea and improve that idea. So people always tend to do this. Employees are motivated as they can contribute to problem solving. The disadvantages to this is that strong team members can dominate the process. Shy members don't contribute at all, and it is time consuming as too many contributions may delay the decision making process. Our last one for the techniques is our nominal group technique. The nominal group technique is a variation of brainstorming where individuals come up with ideas on their own rather than as a group. Application: it encourages group to clearly define the problem, divide the group into smaller groups. Each group member must silently brainstorm the problem. Brainstorming, how do we do this in school, guys? Before we now even write an essay, we draw a cloud with problem inside, and then we have lines running out of it, and then have a solution around that cloud. Also, one person must write down the solution. Our advantages to this is that all group members or must participate, votes are anonymous and more honest, and all the members have an equal say in the decision making. Disadvantages: there might not be a consensus. The chosen solution is not always the best. It's time consuming as well. So, the best thing that you can take out of this when studying is that by disadvantages, you can write all of it is time consuming. We move on. We now move on to social responsibility. Now, the word social, everyone needs to know this. The word social means people. So, it is, to make a shorter definition, it is the people's responsibility on the business, organization, or the environment. So, the meaning that the government has given us, or the department has given us, is that social responsibility is an ethical viewpoint that says every individual or organization has an obligation to benefit society as a whole. If you looked at your assignments, matriculants, these things came in your assignments. We are to speak about the triple P, which is now the relationship or the link between the triple bottom line and social responsibility. We started with P, profit, economic. So the triple bottom line means that business should not only focus on profit or charge high prices, but should also invest in CSI projects. Those are those small projects that people are busy with, such as giving out food, or having feeding schemes. They should invest in that to help people with the feeding schemes to actually help our communities. People, social, told you it is one word. So businesses should engage or invest in sustainable community programs, projects that will benefit or uplift communities, such as our normal soccer teams in our communities. Our business people can invest in those soccer teams by actually sponsoring them, by giving soccer balls to the soccer teams, or even helping them out with training kit. Our planet or environment, business should not exhaust resources or harm the environment for production or profit purposes. Rather, they should recycle or reuse the waste. Example, packaging from recycled material. Our glass bottles, what can we do with those, or our plastic bottles? We can now grow plants in that bottles, have fertilizer in them, put the seeds, water them every day, have them in sunlight, and then we would now be part of the recycling clan. Strategies to deal with HIV and AIDS, unemployment, and poverty. So, firstly, HIV and AIDS. We would conduct workshops on HIV and AIDS programs or campaigns in our business. We would roll out antiretroviral ARV treatment programs, or ART, for the infected employees. Remember, no one would know if you have HIV in your company, only those that needs to know, such as your hierarchy, so that they can now roll out that antiretroviral treatment for you guys or for anyone in the business. Also, encourage employees to join HIV and AIDS support groups. We all know that it can bring about depression. So, therefore, joining those small groups can help, and you can overcome these situations by talking to people. Unemployment, provides skills development programs through learnerships, offer bursaries to the community to improve the level of education. NISFAS is one of those good bursary settlements that hands out bursaries to our local people in our communities. Some businesses do offer these as well. Also, create jobs for members of the community. Poverty, support poverty alleviation programs that are offered by the government. Also, donate money or food parcels to local NGOs, such as businesses should help Gift of the Givers, because Gift of the Givers is one of the best NGOs or NPOs that now help our communities. So, contribution of time and effort in improving the well being of the community. We now make ethically correct decisions, business decisions. Example, not engage in unfair or misleading advertising. Donate money to community projects, run a project to uplift the community. Provide recreation or sport facilities to promote social cohesion or healthy activities. So, ways in which we could contribute to the well being of the employees. How could we contribute? We should provide for employees participation in decision making that affects them. This will now bring about confidence in the workplace. Now, once they have confidence, we would now, or the business would now increase their profitability. Provide recreational facilities for employees, maybe have a gaming room once your employees has a break, they can now go to the gaming room and now just have a peace of mind. Also offer annual physical or medical assessments for workers so they can actually check their health if they have diabetes, have sugar, and all of those things. Our corporate social responsibility and corporate social investment. So, the meaning of corporate social investment, corporate meaning the business, social, as we know, means business, and the responsibility. So, it's a business's responsibility on the people. We'll now give the meaning, the the continuing commitment by business to behave ethically and contribute to economic development while improving the quality of life of the local community and society at large. Also, corporate social responsibility is an obligation required by law and benefits both business and society. The purpose of the CSR programs are internal programs that business use to comply with laws and ethics. CSR aims to create a safe working environment for employees, as well as business operations address the triple bottom line, which is our triple P: profit, people, planet. Repeat this to yourself, boys and girls, so that you can now remember what the triple bottom line is. It is triple B, triple P, profit, people, planet. So, through the CSR programs, by considering its impact on, on people, profit, planet once again. So, the components of the CSR is that ethical practices, example, good accounting practices, our health and safety consideration, always have a safe working environment for workers, labor consideration, training and incentives for workers. So once workers does well for the month, give them a gift, or if they reach their target, give them a gift or a certificate so that you can now give them motivation and they can feel a sense of calmness in the business. Environmental consideration, example, protecting water and other natural resources. Our community support, example, assisting community to fulfill their basic needs. Our focus area of the CSI, which is our corporate social investment, let's first go over what does it actually mean. It actually means investing in small businesses or in or investing in people or the community. So it refers to the investment of corporate funds for the primary purpose of achieving social outcomes. Money that a business budget to provide solutions to social problems within the communities from which they draw their workers or where they sell their products or services. Giving back, investing, giving bursaries to younger people in the community. The purpose of the CSI aims at contributing towards sustainable development of its immediate communities. CSI projects plays a positive role in the development of communities as well as it reveals a business's attitude towards the community in which it operates. Our CSI projects are long-term investments. What are the areas they focus on? Community, rural development, employees, and the environment. Examples of CSI projects: donations to support local organizations. So maybe by giving the fish oil or the gas for our people to make food for our people that don't have food in the community. Investing in job creation projects, providing adult basic education, meaning where adults can now redo their matric or complete their matric, teaching environmental skills, sponsoring art and culture programs, as well as establishing programs to promote early childhood development. So, the benefits and challenges of the CSR or CSI for businesses and communities. Our benefits for the business and communities. Firstly, the business, it allows business to fulfill the requirements of the King Code. Remember, the King Code is your responsibility and your initiatives. It creates a good culture amongst managers and staff. Employees have pride in the company, which helps the business to find and retain staff. It promotes good relations with community leaders and government, which means our community leaders or our business will be well known to the community, and therefore the business, our community members will support the business. It also attracts socially responsible investors. Our challenges that are facing the business with the CSR, CSR projects is that they pose an additional cost that can affect the business bottom line. It takes time away from the revenue generating projects, and it often requires new employees. Companies sometimes feel obliged to start CSR projects, but their motivation is not in line with the principle of the CSR. What are the benefits of our communities in the CSR and CSI? Money is directed at programs aimed at helping the community. The business quality of life increases, and there is an increase in economic opportunities, meaning there is a way for our people to now make money. Relationship with the business improves. The disadvantages or the challenges that is caused in the communities is that it might become dependent on CSI programs. It also now, this dependency could lead to disempowerment and cause frustration in communities when programs end. Our difference between corporate social responsibility and corporate social investment. Remember, CSR is now the intention is to change business practices, and focus is on increasing image and profits. Also, often intended as a marketing initiative. Our CSI actively committing to money and resources to uplift the community. Focus is on upliftment of community without return on investment, meaning they will now build a small hall where we would now have programs for the kids to uplift their moral and social well-being. Because remember, keeping them and not having activities can now play with their mental health. They need to grow up. Also intend to benefit and uplift communities through social development. We now move on to team performance. So, with our team performance, they would ask us what is team performance? Name the four different types of team performances. You can now say it is shared values or mutual trust and support, interpersonal attitudes and behavior, communication and cooperation or collaboration. So, what is shared or mutual trust and support? It's the perform tasks with integrity, meeting team deadlines with commitment to team goals. It also shows loyalty towards team members despite differences. It also shows respect for the skills of other members. Our interpersonal attitudes, remember, they would now give us a scenario. We now need to mention what team performance is being used and taking place. Most of the time, it is the interpersonal attitudes and behaviors. So, this is where good interpersonal relationship increases productivity of the team. Members are committed towards achieving a common goal, and team leader acknowledges members for positive contributions. Our communication, it is a clear set of procedures to ensure that every team member understands his or her role. Quality of feedback improves the model of the team, or open discussions lead to effective solutions of the problems. Cooperation or collaboration, willingness to cooperate with management to achieve team goals, and willingness to cooperate as a unit to achieve team objectives. All members take part in decision making. So, what is the characteristics of a successful team? Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, you need to know what characteristics form a successful team. You can use this in your everyday life or in a business. Guys, you need to only know three bullets here for your examination. So, successful teams share a common goal, they share a set of team values and implement group decisions. There is a climate of respect, trust, and honesty. Honesty and trust is a key point in our success, in having a successful team. Teams pay attention to the needs of the individual team members, and successful teams sound interpersonal attitudes and beliefs. Regular reviews of team processes and progress may detect problems, balance the skills, knowledge, experience to achieve the objectives. So, the stages of team development, we need to know this. They're going to ask us, so guys, mention the stages of team development and what it means. You're going to say forming, norming, forming, storming, norming, performing, and mourning or journeying. So forming is individuals gathering the information, as well as they are comfortable and polite with each other, and they focus on being busy with routines. So, forming, remember, gathering information. Storming, they go through a period of unease after formation, and different ideas from team members will compete for consideration. Tension may occur, and there may be power struggles for the position of team leader. So again, forming, you are now gathering information. Storming, you're going through a rough period where you're now finding difficulties and trying to find ideas. Our norming is where team members come to an agreement and reach consensus on the problem solving technique or the solution that we have found to our problem. Our performing team members are aware of strategies and aims of the team, and now they have direction without interference from the leader. Morning, the focus is on completing the task or ending the project or breaking up the team. May be traumatic for some team members, and all tasks need to be completed before the team finally dissolves. So, forming, gathering information, storming, there is now problems and we're now getting a solution. Norming, we have found the solution and we have came to a consensus. Performing, we are now portraying or relaying the solution, we're implementing it. And mourning, we are now bringing the project to an end and everyone now needs to depart. So the importance of our team, the dynamic theories, is that it explains how effective teams work. It also can allocate tasks according to the roles of team members and allocate according to their skills. Team members with similar strengths may compete for team tasks, and theories assist team leaders to understand the personality. Conflict may be minimized when team members perform different roles. We now move over to conflict. So, the causes of conflict in the workplace, there are so many. Just to name a few, it is a lack of proper communication, which is always one of them, even in our day to day lives with our parents, with our um, partners. It is always a problem with the lack of proper communication. Ignoring the rules may result in disagreements as well as lack of recognition. If I don't get recognition for my work, I would now have caused conflict because someone else is getting awarded for my hard work. Also, unfair disciplinary procedures such as favoritism or nepotism. Nepotism means taking one's part. Leadership styles, unrealistic deadlines, and constant changes may cause instability. We need to know the difference between grievance and conflict. So, grievance, when an employee is unhappy in a workplace, it is when an individual has a work related issue. Example, that can cause a grievance, discrimination, unfair treatment, poor working conditions. So, remember, it is when you are unhappy in the workplace. Conflict, it is a clash of opinions in the workplace, disagreement between two or more parties in the workplace. Examples of this, of course, of conflict is that it is a lack of trust, personality clashes, and different values. How do we handle conflict in the workplace? So, steps we can go about: acknowledge that there is conflict, identify the cause of conflict, arrange pre negotiation where workers can state the case separately, arrange a meeting between conflicting parties. Each party can express his or own opinions. Analyze the cause of conflict by breaking it down into parts. Brainstorming possible ways of resolving the conflict, and select and implement the best solution. Monitor the progress to ensure that conflict has been received. So, that is how we're going to now handle conflict in our everyday life and in the business. You now need to state this in your examination. The procedures to deal with grievance in the workplace. Remember, grievance is when a employee is unhappy in the workplace. You're going to state the problem to the supervisor verbally. The supervisor listens and investigates the problem. If the person is not satisfied with the suggested solution, submit a formal written complaint to the next level of management. The next level of management investigates the problem and further suggestions a solution and makes recommendation. Happy with the solution, the grievance is solved. If not satisfied, remember I told you in business environments and operations, if they're not satisfied, the employee can now take it up with the CCMA or the labor court. So that is the way you're going to handle conflict and how you're going to handle grievances in the workplace. We move over to the types of personalities and how we're going to deal with the different types of personalities. So first we have a complainer. You know some of them, one of your friends. What are you going to do with them? You're going to listen to the complaints, but do not acknowledge them. Interrupt the situation and move to the problem solving process. You have an indecisive friend or worker or employee. You're going to guide them through alternatives, stay in control, and emphasize the importance of deciding. Help them make the decision or solve the problem. We always have an overagreeer, so be firm and do not let them make promises that they cannot keep. Follow up on the actions. Boys, do not make promises to your females because you will not keep that promise. And if you don't keep that promise, it then causes something we call conflict. We have a personality such as a negative person, so be firm with them and do not let them draw to the supervisor into the negativity. Listen to them, but do not agree with them. We have an expert, be firm with them and assertive. Do not accuse them of being incorrect. Know your facts when dealing with them. We have a quiet person, so do not fill them with silence with your words. Wait for the response. Prompt them through the process so that they can give their input. Restrict the time of the discussion. And we have now our last personality, which is an aggressive person. Allow them time to speak and blow off. Be firm, but do not attack them. Do not allow them to be hostile towards others. So, the way which we can deal with this in a business with a difficult person, we can ask someone in authority for the input into this situation, identify the personality firstly, which is creating the problem, meet privately with the difficult employees so that there are no distractions from employees. Make intentions and reasons for actions known, and then have a deadline should be set for improving bad behavior. Guidelines for improvement should be given. Do not judge the person, but try to understand them by putting yourself in their shoes. Help difficult employees to be realistic about the task on hand and treat people with respect, irrespective whether they are competent or not. Provide appropriate support to address areas of their weakness. So now we move on to human rights, inclusivity, and environmental issues. So human rights are rights that everyone must enjoy by mere fact that they are human beings. They are protected by the Bill of Rights contained in Chapter 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. So what are the human rights? And ways in which business could deal with the human rights in the workplace. So, our human rights are privacy, dignity, equity, freedom of speech and expression, information, and safety and security and protection of life. I'm going to go briefly over them. Our privacy. Information of employees who have disclosed the HIV and AIDS status must be kept confidential. So this must be private. This is one of our human rights. Our dignity. Business must treat all employees with respect regardless of their socio-economic status, meaning whether they are poor, whether they are rich, everyone must be treated equally. Equity. Business must give equal opportunity to all employees and equal pay for work of equal value. Remember, this forms part of our Employment Equity Act. Freedom of speech and expressions. Business should allow open communication channels between management and employees. Information. Workers should have access to information, including information held by the government, and informed as new information becomes available. Therefore, notices are given around the workplace once information is given to the business. Safety, security, and protection of life. Employees should work in a safe work environment free from hazardous products or areas. So now you need to comply with the safety legislation such as your OHSA, Occupational Health and Safety Act, or your COEDA, which is your Compensation, Occupation, Injuries and Diseases Act. Remember, all of these now interlink with each other. We are soon coming to an end, but now we're going to first go over all of these. Our economic rights of employees in a workplace, which is our free from forced labor, fair wages, safe and healthy working conditions, and join or form trade unions. Our social rights of employees in the workplace. Employees have the right to social security. Employees have the right to freedom of movement as well as free from underage employment. Remember, you can only start working from the age of 16. If you're underage, the business will then be fined and be prosecuted. So, ways to promote cultural rights within workplace, providing an environment which employees are free to use their own language when interacting with each other. So let our workers that are speaking isiXhosa communicate with each other by speaking isiXhosa. Our people of Afrikaans, they can communicate with each other by speaking Afrikaans. Implementation Implementations of equity, respect, and dignity for business. Business should treat all the employees equally, regardless of their race, age, gender, disability. So, the benefits of diversity in the workplace. Workforce diversity improves the ability of a business to solve problems in a diverse market. Employees value each other's diversity and learn to communicate across lines of difference. Diversity in the workplace improves the morale. So there should always be diversity and differences. Everyone should trust each other and communicate properly with each other. So, ways to promote social rights in the workplace. Businesses should ensure that employees have access to social security, opportunities for skills training or basic environment, and workers with UIF to promote or provide adequate protection in the event of unemployment or illness. So, the definition of inclusivity, we all know inclusivity means that no one should be excluded because of the gender, age, race, or language or disability. And the meaning of diversity refers to the variety of people employed based on their age, race, gender, or ethnic group. I've now given you diversity issues in the workplace. All you need to know is what they are. You can make up their own definitions or the problems that they face. The question that will be asked to you is that They would give a scenario. You now need to identify what diversity issues is being placed in the workplace. Can either be poverty, our race, our gender, language, age, culture, religion, or disability. We now move on. So, environmental issues relate to preserving a clean, safe, or sustainable environment. Business should access, control, and address all physical, chemical, or biological factors in the environment. So, what role and health safety representatives in protecting the workplace environment? As you know, this came in your assessment last term, and it is in your assessment this term as well. So you should ensure that protective clothing is provided to all workers, identify potential dangers in the workplace, and promote measures to ensure the health and safety of workers. Remember, how does this take place in schools? Schools now give you a uniform. So once you get injured outside of school, members will know how to identify you outside school, and they will now contact the school to say you are injured. The responsibilities of workers in promoting health and safety in the workplace: they should report unsafe working conditions, report the accidents at the end of the shift, and use prescribed safety in equipment. Responsibilities of employers in promoting health and safety: they should provide and maintain all equipment that is necessary to perform the work, keep the systems to ensure there will be no harmful impact of the health and safety of workers. We now move on. Ways in which business could protect the environment, protect health and safety in the workplace: become involved in environmental awareness programs. Water for human consumption should be tested before it is used. Promote nature conservations by looking after natural resources, and minimize pollution by reusing, reducing, and recycling. Educate people about hygiene issues and encourage employees to do regular health checks by checking if they have diabetes, checking if they have sugar, high blood, and if they have HIV and AIDS. We now come to the end of our session. So all of these questions will be asked to us. So please, guys, take screenshots of everything that I've showed you, write them down, study them, because in our next session from now on outwards, I would now give questions. You will then now be able to answer them. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. My name is Imran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I now hand over to Kanita.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I must say, listening to your session is quite interesting because a lot of what you have basically gone over are things that I think many matriculants who have taken up the subject would be able to carry over into their working. Like one day when they find employment, a lot of these things also apply to us, working people. So very, very interesting subject. I never took up the subject. And I'm thinking if I now reflect back, this is maybe something that I should have maybe considered. But yeah, so shukran once again for the very informative session today. And remember that you can listen back to the session. It is recorded. It will remain on our Facebook platform as well as YouTube. And if you know of anyone who can benefit, any matric student who can benefit from these lessons, do share the link. I know with the YouTube, you can actually download the YouTube from YouTube. So you can always, save it and you can refer back to these lessons. And it could help you to also improve on your results at the end of the year, inshallah, or for upcoming exams. So shukran to you, Muhammad Imran. We look forward to having you back next week, inshallah. So yes, that is the session for today. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email. It's conita@vocfm.co.za. If you have any questions pertaining to today's lesson or any of the other questions that we have, we look forward to hearing from you, inshallah. From myself, my guest today, but you feel well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.